better care of yourself. Take your journal, divide it in sections. You can take, don't tear the sheet out, but divide about 10 pages and then fold the 11th page like this. Fold it back. The first half can be writing about medical things, your medication, how it's making you feel, how it's affecting you, if there's any changes or like that. The second 10 pages, I want you to talk about how you're feeling that day, your thoughts, your mind. If somebody's stressing you out, you write it down. If the day was a good day, you write it down about it. What made it a good day? If it was a bad day, who stepped on your toe and kicked your dog and so on and so forth. And the third section, I want you to talk about something you did today that made your life worth living for. Something you did for someone, something that you said to someone, someone you smiled at, something that made your day worth living for. This is only a beginning. These are some things that come under, how many of you seen in the newspaper, the newsletter, the Dr. Eddie Glenn Challenge? This is a part of that series, and we're going to get started with that. Don't take these notebooks home and start putting your finances in there. It's not about your money. Do not take this and donate it for school supplies. This is not about that. Do not take this and start writing love letters to your secret admirer. It's not about that. This is about you learning to start taking better care of yourself living with sarcoidosis. So put your name under where it says, My Sarcoidosis Journal. Starting today, August the 28th, 2010. I want you to leave here, or while we're wrapping up, you can write your first thought about today, what today meant to you, what you learned, how it makes you feel, what you wish you had learned that you didn't know, or so on and so forth. And in closing, we're almost there. A couple of things I want you to know about sarcoidosis before you leave, especially newcomers. First and foremost, it is not contagious. But if you're like Tamala and have to use it to get guys off you or women off you, you do what you got to do. But it's not contagious. So tell your family members you can breathe on them, okay? Number two, sarcoidosis is not a disease found in women only. As you see and have heard, there are several men in here diagnosed with it. I think part of the reason that we see more women is because women go to the doctor more often. Women will, address something different. Men will pass it off and say, it's just a little something, I'll get over it, it'll be okay. And that's not a bad thing, but that's kind of how they're wired. And so they kind of pass it off. It is not an African-American disease. I don't care what you read in the literature. I'm telling you. I've researched it, And if you've been reading the newsletter, and for all the new people, we will be mailing you out a newsletter because someone was supposed to bring us some additional copies today, and for whatever reason, they're not here. They could be sick. They could have had a bad night or a bad morning and just couldn't get here, and they didn't bring them. So I will be mailing them out for all the newcomers, so make sure you signed in and you gave us your address. But sarcoidosis was first recognized in 1769, between 1769 and 1808 in Europe, okay? The first case that was actually documented was in 1879 on a white European male. All of the early cases of sarcoidosis up until 1940 were diagnosed in Switzerland, Norway, Sweden, the UK, Germany, okay? Later, Japan. Sarcoidosis was not recorded and documented in the United States until 1940. It's been around for a long time, over 200 years, not diagnosed in the United States until 1940, More people with sarcoidosis around the world have European descent. It's a European origin disease. It's not an African American disease. In the United States, when you divide the country up in regions, depending on where you live and where you go, more white Americans have it in the Northeast, more white Americans have it in the Northwest, more white Americans have it in the Southwest, more African Americans have it in the Southeast. Okay? It's that simple. So don't let your doctors or anybody else fool you. This is the truth and the gospel. This is how it plays out. There are more cases around the world of European descent than any other ethnic group in the world. It's found in Japan, and it's found more cases in Japan than in the United States. It's not contagious. It's not a lung disease. Okay? Sarcoidosis for the first probably 50 or 75 years was only diagnosed as what? Skin. Sarcoid means skin, flesh-like. It wasn't until 1869 or 79 that they began to realize that other systems, organs, and tissues were involved. Okay. Now you have the facts. And last but not least, before we do the last 4 or 5 door prizes. Oh, I lost my thought. Everybody in here needs to be able to describe what sarcoidosis is. Take some time and learn how to describe it to someone. So when someone asks you, you're not fumbling and you're not giving them misinformation, because part of our task is to what? Give people accurate and correct information so we can stop this misinformation going around and we can dispel many of the myths that are out there, okay? Where are my door prizes?